2021 was a pretty solid year for movies. A lot of quality, a couple of surprises, definitely some stinkers. But in terms of big blockbusters, I feel like 2022 is even more stacked, partially due to some movies having been pushed back. But hey, hopefully, if it's possible, we'll now keep 2021's momentum going and keep getting new films instead of just headlines about how films have been pushed back. Morbius better not be a sign of things to come. In any way, actually. Anyway, with that in mind, here are the 10 movies that I'm most looking forward to in this coming year. My number 10 pick is a bit of a strange one, and wouldn't have been on here if not for the recent trailer, but I've gone with Fantastic Beasts 3, The Secrets of Dumbledore. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, books and films, so that automatically bumps this up for me a bit. I thought the first Fantastic Beasts was okay, but after the second one, which I really disliked, like one of my least favorite films of that whole year, I basically wrote off this franchise and said, nope, not gonna be excited for the next one. And now I'm not saying this one will be great, and maybe the reunion special got the nostalgia going a bit, but the trailer for this latest one did give me a bit of hope and turn me around a bit. It looks more fun, and like it has a bit more life to it. It looks like it's going to focus on the more interesting aspects of this Fantastic Beasts series, hopefully. I love me some Mads Mikkelsen, and seeing him versus Jude Law Dumbledore could be exciting. And yeah, as mentioned, the main point, I feel like these prequels are finally getting to the part of this prequel story that I would have been interested in originally, the Dumbledore Grindelwald stuff. So, despite some reservations, I am excited for it. Cautiously. At number 9, I have Thor Love and Thunder, aka Thor. Taika Waititi has done a wonderful job of breathing some much-needed life into the Thor films and the character himself, both of which before Ragnarok certainly weren't bad, but lacked some signature style that they now have in abundance. This new comedic style for Thor is something fun and imaginative and new to do with the character, and fits Chris Hemsworth's comedic acting abilities really well, and I think the whole world built around that in Ragnarok will be very fun to see more of. This movie also promises to bring big changes to this side of the MCU, which I'm curious to see. Natalie Portman returning as female Thor being the main one. We'll get more Thor with the Guardians, Christian Bale as a badass villain, more fun craziness. I just can't wait to see what they do here. Number 8 is Babylon, the next film from Damien Chazelle. While I wasn't crazy about First Man, Whiplash and La La Land are two of my favorite films, and so I'm super excited to see what's next from Chazelle. Plus, I am very much digging what we've heard about this so far. A drama set in Hollywood's golden age with a stacked cast, including but not limited to Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Flea, Olivia Wilde, and Tobey Maguire. How could I not be stoked for this movie? Sounds like it'll be one of next year's Oscar season's hottest contenders. I realize I just sounded like one of those presenters on a movie talk show or something, and I didn't like it. Coming in at number 7, in a similar vein, is Nope, the newest film from Jordan Peele. A film that's not based on anything, I'm just excited based on the creative force behind it and the cast. This one is a bit unique on this list in the sense that we know basically nothing about it, and I'm fine keeping it that way. I'm excited for this because Get Out was one of my favorite films of 2017. Us, while not as good in my opinion, was still a very compelling watch, and I'm just excited to see more Peele horror madness. When it says, from the mind of Jordan Peele, I want to know what other weird, creepy, clever ideas are inside that head of his. These psychological horror films are easily the kind that I enjoy the most, especially when they're as thought-provoking as Peele's have been. So yeah, Nope, can't wait. Plus, an original film, so that's exciting. At number 6, I have Knives Out 2, a follow-up to my favorite film of 2019. Normally, I might be a bit skeptical about this kind of sequel, like if they made a Baby Driver 2, even though I love the first one, I'd say, do we really need more? It was a perfect, original, contained little story, and it ended so well. But with this one, it's a bit different because I actually quite like the idea of Benoit Blanc being a Poirot-esque detective moving from case to case, and so this movie can introduce an entirely new set of characters and a new mystery, and it's intriguing. And I trust Rian Johnson to know what he's doing here. If this movie can bring the same level of fun, creativity, style, and clever storytelling that the first one did, it'll also be an instant classic. And as mentioned, if there's anyone who could handle it, it's probably going to be the guy who did it so well the first time around. Also, more Craig doing the Benoit accent? How could I not put this on my list?
That is hooey.
Quick reminder here that if you're enjoying this video, drop a like, subscribe, hit the bell button, and comment what movies you're most excited for in 2022 down below. Also, after the video, check out my podcast, The Poorly Planned Podcast. Alright, back to the video. At number 5, I have a film that Tom Cruise seemingly almost killed someone on set over, Mission Impossible 7.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
You know how I feel about the Mission Impossible films. I love an action movie, I love spy, gadgety stuff, I love a ragtag fun team, I love Tom Cruise doing stupidly dangerous stuff for our entertainment until one day he's gonna take it too far and we're all gonna look back and go, why did we enable this man to do these crazy things? Anyway, what was I saying? And hey, the last 3 have been some of my favorite action movies ever, with crazy set pieces and interesting stories, and I can't wait for more. And I'm excited to see what they do for the start of what will be the end of the series. Super hyped for this. At number 4 is Doctor Strange Escape to the Multiverse. This one's pretty self-explanatory. I've been known to dabble in the MCU here and there, so I'm a bit excited for the next installment. But this one specifically is even more exciting because it'll finally, hopefully, tie together all this multiverse stuff they've been building. Because so far, while it's led to some cool stuff, it's been a little bit all over the place, so I'm looking forward to getting a bit more of a clear idea of what direction we're going in here. We're also apparently getting cameos galore, which, much like in No Way Home, will be fun to see. Hopefully a really weird and crazy story about going between dimensions and worlds and all the insanity that can lead to. Glad to see it looks like they're going to commit to that. Sam Raimi is helming it, which is pretty exciting in itself. Trailer looks great. The way Marvel handled No Way Home makes me confident that even if it has a ton of cameos and a lot of fan service, it'll build an interesting film around that as well, and it won't just be that. So, can't wait to see more of Mr. Doctor. Number 3 is a bit of a weird one. I've gone with Creed 3, but this one's a bit dicey. Creed 1 and 2 being two of my favorite movies of all time is why this is here. It couldn't not be this high on the list. I love the Rocky world, I love the direction the Creed movies took it, I'm super invested in the characters, and this may be the franchise that I am the most emotionally invested in terms of what real life impacts these films have had on my life. These two movies have affected my real life more than most films, and they're just well made and exciting and inspiring, and so of course I'm excited for more. More cool training montages, emotional and exciting fights, characters overcoming adversity. Even though these movies have fallen into a bit of a formula, it's one I'm down to see more of. However, all the specifics around this movie worry me a little. Michael B. Jordan making his directorial debut on this film, I'm not saying necessarily that's bad, but the lead actor becoming the director at the end of a trilogy doesn't inspire a ton of confidence in me, not gonna lie. Plus, Stallone not returning is a pretty big blow to this movie. Him and Donnie's relationship is one of the biggest parts of what makes the first two films work. It almost feels like a TV show where the actors slowly start dropping off and it starts to not really feel the same, and I really don't want that to happen here. And I'm generally just not sure what direction they'll take this in, and I just really don't want it to feel like a phoned-in, tacked-on entry. This is one of the few film franchises where I'd be actually kind of upset if one of the movies turns out really bad. I'm very invested in these movies, probably too much so. So, I'm very excited, though I wouldn't be super surprised if it ends up being a bit disappointing. At number 2 on my list, I have a film that initially was number 5, but after the recent teaser came out and I saw that style of animation and heard some of that music again, it reminded me how much I truly loved Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in 2018, and how excited I am to get more of that. So here we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Part 1. I'm just expecting this to have what the first one had. Tons of fun, humor, heart, breathtaking action sequences, creativity, amazing animation. The first movie is just such a complete package of a movie on the level of Unincredibles in terms of animated films that everyone can love. Or even just films that everyone can love. And the first film is also a film that very much allows for exciting sequels. There are so many natural, fun, possible directions for the story to go in with its great characters. I'm just beyond excited for it. And again, I trust this creative team behind it to bring in all that stuff that made the first one so good. If not even make a movie that's better. Can you imagine? So yeah, super hyped. Alright, before we get to my number 1 pick, there are a few honorable mentions, cause hey, there are a lot of exciting films coming next year. Death on the Nile. First one was fun, this looks like more of that. Uncharted. Probably won't be great, but I'll always be excited for an Indiana Jones-esque adventure. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Curious to see what direction the story takes, and excited to see more of Wakanda explored. Avatar 2. Also curious to see how this is pulled off, and Avatar 1 is actually a pretty great film in my opinion, so I'm excited to see more of this world and story. Top Gun 2 looks pretty cool. Bullet Train sounds pretty cool. Argyle sounds pretty cool. Operation Fortune, new Guy Ritchie movie. The Northman, Eggers follow-up to The Lighthouse, and looks amazing. Also, is it Egger or Eager or something? I think it's Egger, right? Enchanted's one of my favorite childhood films, so I'm interested in the sequel. Jurassic World Dominion has a fun premise, as does The Flash, including Keaton Batman's return. In The Flash, not Jurassic World Dominion. And Aquaman 2 and Black Adam both look really promising as well. What do you mean I basically just ran through all the major films coming out next year? Just saying, I am legitimately excited for all of these. 2022 is looking like a pretty badass year for movies. And number 1, you probably saw this coming, is The Batman. I feel like I haven't raved about a movie or talked about how excited I am for it like this in a while. But there's just something about this movie, like I've said over and over again, that feels special to me. It doesn't feel like a run-of-the-mill blockbuster or just another reboot of a known character. It feels like a movie that'll be talked about for a long time after its release. Like the Dark Knight movies. Maybe I'm way off on this, and someone in the future will make a hilarious Curb meme putting this clip in and then putting in the 34% Rotten Tomatoes score it gets, but I find that unlikely. This just looks so incredible. Visually, tonally, cast-wise, story-wise, action-wise, everything about this looks amazing. And all of that stuff that I just mentioned looks perfect for the character of Batman. I'm so curious to see this new take on this character's world that seems to be a bit of a blend of a few takes we've gotten before, but in a fresh way. And it just looks, for lack of a better word, epic. And that's why The Batman is my most anticipated film of 2022. So, those were the 10 movies I'm most excited for in the coming year. What do you think of my list, and what does your list look like? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, check out my Instagram and Twitter at BHL_Hudson, my TikTok at BHLHudson, check out this podcast that I do with a friend of mine where we talk about movies, TV shows, a bunch of nonsense. It's called The Poorly Planned Podcast, and subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.